I started a brand new hardcore world in Minecraft 1.21, but the enchants on my armor and bow aren't possible in this version of the game. I'm now going to show you the hours I spent to create the most powerful armor and bow in Minecraft. Now that I had iron armor and tools, I felt much more comfortable to go into the cave and look for diamonds. I got 5 diamonds. That's enough for a pickaxe and an enchanting table. All I needed was some food before it was time to go exploring. After searching for a while, I finally found an acacia village. This is where I'm going to be making my home for the foreseeable future. The plan is to make a villager breeder, multiple crop farms, and a trading hall for enchanted books to put on my tools and armor. The first thing I did was go and collect a lot of sand, as you can see in this time lapse. This is to smelt into glass for the villager breeder walls, so I can see inside of it and make sure that everything is running smoothly. After finishing the villager breeder, I started work on some crop farms. Here's another time lapse of me clearing the area and planting those crops in the soil. What you now see me building is a string duper. These were still working on the version of 1.21 I was using, so I'm going to use the string from the duper to trade in fisherman villagers and get a lot of emeralds for enchanted books from librarians. Now it's time to put down the enchanter and all of the bookshelves it needs. I got lucky, and my pickaxe was going to be enchanted with Fortune 3. This is going to help a lot with resource gathering. Now that I had a bunch of diamonds to spare, I thought it was going to be a good idea to make a full set of armor and get the perfect enchants for it. But soon after, I'd gotten an even better idea, and that armor set ended up never getting used, and it stayed in that chest unenchanted. Now you may be wondering why I'm putting all of my items in a chest and swimming very far away from my base with little to nothing in my inventory. Well, I said that I had gotten an even better idea for my armor, and it requires a little bit of breaking the game. Sorry this part of the video doesn't have any audio. My OBS kinda broke when I was recording this. I also couldn't get 1.9 to record in full screen for like half of this section, but it'll be over soon enough. Now to explain my actions. I put all of my items in the chest, except for a boat, 3 pieces of bread, and a bed. Then I sailed off into the night. This was done for a very specific reason. I planned on downgrading my world from 1.21 to 1.9, and if I stayed in the same area, all of my items would get reset when I loaded those chunks, and the progress I had made would be essentially lost. So I left and started from scratch again. It sucks having to basically restart the entire world, but it's going to be worth it soon enough whenever I can get my hands on a 1.9 mending and infinity bow. Since I am back to stone tools and no place to call home, I do what needs to be done. I started mining down into the earth in search of iron, because I had 0 armor and was scared for my life. Luckily, I was pretty successful in my search and got a decent amount of iron. After mining, I started gathering wood for my house so I can encase the AFK fish farm I made. This fish farm is so I can either get a bow with mending already enchanted on it, or get a mending book that I can later put on a bow. While the house may not be pretty or super functional or really anything good, it was practical and it kept me alive. And in this version of the game, I don't have to worry about eating when I'm fishing, so I won't lose any health. So I just left my PC on for hours while I was either sleeping or at college. And I got a pretty good bow while I was at it by combining like 2 or 3 different bows from the farm. Now all I needed was infinity. After looking up how to get infinity in 1.9, I just needed to make a level 16 enchanting table or better and get lucky. Since I didn't have any leather, I went out and started killing a bunch of cows. The beef was a nice bonus, but I had plenty of fish I could eat, so I wasn't hurting for food. And while I didn't necessarily have to collect 45 leather to make 15 bookshelves and get a max level enchanting table, I did it anyways because it wasn't going to hurt me. And finally, after some enchanting, I got infinity on a bow, and I was able to combine the 2 bows I had and make a god bow with mending and infinity. Next on the to-do list was Minecraft version 1.14. Game audio is back now, thankfully. This is how I planned on getting the 4 versions of protection on every piece of my armor. Mojang had changed the way enchanting worked for a very short period of time and allowed for all the different types of protection to be put on all the pieces of armor together. So I left my 1.9 base, I grabbed whatever resources I thought would be useful and headed off to find a 1.14 village. I luckily found one pretty quick in a spruce forest, so I looted everything in the area before finally putting my chest down. Once again, I cleared out a space and started working on villager breeder. This one isn't nearly as pretty as the one I made in 1.21, but it's fine. It doesn't have to be pretty, just efficient. Finally, after many hours of work, I had enough emeralds to buy all the enchanted books for every single piece of my armor. The only problem? I don't have the levels to put all the enchants on every piece of armor, and I don't want to go to the nether to mine quartz because I don't want to load those chunks which will cause no netherite to spawn in those areas. So, I went to the zombie spawner I had found under my 1.9 base and converted it into an XP farm. Then, I sat there and killed zombies, slowly upgrading my armor until it was finally finished. It took a long time, but I was able to put every single enchant on every single piece of armor. Now we can finally get back to version 1.21, and the first thing on my mind is to kill the ender dragon and get an elytra. So, I went into the nether and started farming some endermen for their pearls. Then, I explored until I could find a nether fortress and get some blaze rods. I got very lucky, and on the very first wither skeleton I killed, he dropped his head. So, after getting all the blaze rods I needed, I stayed until I could get 2 more wither skeleton skulls so I could eventually spawn the wither. After leaving the fortress, I then found a bastion and got the netherite upgrade templates I would need to duplicate so I could actually put netherite on all my armor and tools. I also found soul speed 3, so I went and mined quartz until I could add the enchant to my boots. Then, I headed back home to search for the end portal. I found it fairly easily, and the dragon fight goes exactly as expected. Here's the chopped up version of the fight. killing the dragon, I gather up all the XP and the dragon egg, and then the search for the elytra begins. I enter the outer end island and find 2 cities very close together, but neither of them has a ship. The third entity I found does have a ship, so I start raiding the city for all of the loot. Then I get on top of the boat and I steal the elytra ASAP. I put a mending and a breaking on the elytra and I start flying back home, because there's only one thing I have left to find. The Silence Armor Trim has a 1.2% chance of spawning in any Ancient City chest, and let me tell you, I spent hours looting Ancient Cities for this one item. I went through like 7 of them, and I finally found one. And once I got it, I just left. I didn't even bother going through any of the chests in the rest of the Ancient City. And finally, to top off the armor, I go netherite mining. I grab 3 stacks of wool and 3 stacks of planks before heading to Y level 15. I got pretty lucky and found 42 ancient debris. I already had 2 back at home from the bastion I raided, so I'm now able to make 11 netherite ingots. I'm able to upgrade all of my armor and all of my tools. And for the very last part, I add silence trim with a redstone accent. And now I am finished. I've completed my bow and I've completed my armor, and it only took around 150 in-game days.